Hi YouTube, Red Horse 89 here for something a little different, but don't worry, I'm still smoking. Basically, I wanted to do this quick book review on Charles Bukowski's Women. Now, Charles Bukowski is a German immigrant, or his parents were German immigrant, he's American, but this book is a novel, wink wink, that chronicles his adventures in LA 1975 and on, and his escapades involving women, as well as, drinking copious amounts of alcohol and doing drugs and going to his poetry readings and etc. He changes his name to Henry Chinaski, which in and itself is really interesting. Now, this copy is a original Black Sparrow Press, 1978, softback, unfortunately, and it's a little beat up. You can see it's kind of starting to fall apart at the edges, mostly because of me and the humidity changes. It's been through a few states, and there's discolorations in the pages themselves, and there was pieces of heroin and shit stuck on the inside of the pages and whatnot. But I got this copy for $15 at Pegasus Books in West Seattle, Washington State. So I got a little lucky. One thing that I want to mention is that if you have a strong feminist ideology, I don't necessarily recommend this book to you, because he does not treat women very well. You have to keep in mind this was written written about 1975, and it was a different time. There's also a mention of segregation in this as well. But I do want to kind of defend the fact that he might not treat a lot of these women in this book very well, but he also doesn't get treated very well by women either. But I guarantee you that regardless of your gender orientation, if you have dated females, you have met characters from this book. There's a lot of really interesting things dealing with casual relationships. It's a very interesting psychological study too. What's my next point? So the book itself is not a very long read. It's 291 pages, and you can see the type is pretty large, and it's spaced out a lot of the time to accentuate dialogue. And if you thought Hunter S. Thompson was good at writing dialogue, this is some of the most natural dialogue I've ever seen. Just imagine people late at night drinking, smoking grass, smoking cigarettes, and it flows just so well. Just, hey, how this happened, and dot dot dot, and dot dot dot. It's very, very, very easy to read. I don't recommend it for young people. I would say at least be 17, when you read this. I was unfortunately 24, 25 when I read it. I wish I would have read it at 17 or 18 so that I could have warned myself about certain aspects of love and lust and all those wonderful, terrible, heart-wrenching, gutting your shit out type things. Now, there's a couple interesting, little stories. I don't want to ruin a whole lot of it, but there's one part where I believe he's in New York City going to a poetry reading, and one of his managers or handlers says, "Hey, William S. Burroughs is in the next room over. Do you want to meet him?" And he says, "No," because, Burroughs thought he was, Bukowski thought he was the shit. So then, I want to say it was either the same page or the next page, the same handler comes by and says, "Hey, I talked to Burroughs just recently and said, do you want to meet Chinaski?" And he said no, because Burroughs thought he was the shit. Just kind of interesting. He changes names around, but they're based on real people. Famously, I believe the character in the book names are Lydia Vance, but her real name is Linda King. And famously, she was the one who taught him how to perform oral sex on a female at his ripe old age of 50 something, which I think is kind of funny. Huh, what a stellar human being, right? Don't you know, Charles? It's a give and take world. Anyways, I do recommend this book. You can buy brand new copies of it at anywhere that books are sold, most likely, and it's just all around a really good read. Do recommendo. So, full of very filthy language, full of gratuitous sex scenes, drug use, and just human desperation. Very honest accounts of just living life, existing as not only as a person who's essentially going through a bit of a midlife crisis, but just as a human being in general. There are undeniable truths that life isn't fair and that shit happens. So before I let this drag on too long, Women by Charles Bukowski. Red Horse 89.